Kobe Bryant is one of the greatest NBA players of all time. He was a necessary centerpiece for the Lakers over his 20-year career, co-leading them to 3 NBA titles, and after the trade of co-star big man Shaq, Kobe led them to 2 more championship wins and cemented himself as one of the all-time greats. Kobe Bryant was a gem plucked from the draft by the Charlotte Hornets only to be swiftly traded away to the Los Angeles Lakers. But what if that trade never happened? What if Kobe's journey began in the Queen City instead of the City of Angels? We're going to see exactly how Kobe's career would play out if he was never traded, and instead spent his years on the Charlotte Hornets. We're going to see if Kobe can replicate his legacy and win another 5 titles, but this time on the Charlotte Hornets. We will also see if he can replicate his individual success, getting at least 2 final MVPs, 18 All-Star appearances, and an NBA MVP. But without further ado, let's see what history would be like if Kobe never wore the purple and gold.
With the 13th pick in the 1996 NBA draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Kobe Bryant from Lower Merion High School in Pennsylvania.
Kobe Bryant would immediately start for the Charlotte Hornets, but his debut didn't go as planned. He struggled with a shot, finishing with only 7 points, getting locked down and finishing 3 for 8 from the floor. However, he contributed in other ways, dishing out 4 assists. Despite his efforts, the Hornets would end up losing the game, falling to the Milwaukee Bucks 102-87. The rest of Kobe's rookie season, however, was a different story. He found his rhythm, averaging 17.5 points, 4.1 assists, and 2.5 rebounds per game. Kobe would captain a lackluster Charlotte Hornets roster, but at just age 18, under his leadership, the Hornets achieved a 36-36 record, securing the 8th seed in the playoffs. Here in the first round of the playoffs, Kobe Bryant would go against a stacked Miami Heat team, led by former Hornets legend Alonzo Mourning, and he would be supported by all-star guard Tim Hardaway. Early on, Kobe would display great offense, hitting almost every single shot he attempted, and all around playing a great game. Because of his play, the Charlotte Hornets would find themselves out in front of the Miami Heat. Alonzo Mourning would step up and put Miami on his back, turning up his play and drawing the Heat right back into the game. And with 34 seconds left in the game, Kobe would step to the line with 2 crucial shots. He would miss the first one, but the second shot he would bury it. Tim Hardaway would hit a half-court shot, but it was too little too late. Kobe was all smiles after game 1, but unfortunately for him, that joy was very short-lived, as in game 2, the Heat would go back and forth, trading blows, as their stars would make shot after shot after shot. But as the game came to a close, Tim Hardaway would hit a huge shot to win it for the Heat. Game 3 would be all Tim Hardaway, as he would explode for 37 points, 7 assists, and 2 rebounds, blowing out the Charlotte Hornets. Glenn Rice would return the favor in Game 4, going off for 24 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists, and a blowout win for the Charlotte Hornets. However, this would not be enough, as the Miami Heat went on to win the series in Game 5 with a 107-95 victory. And Kobe's real-life team would go on to win this year's finals, with Shaq taking home the MVP. Determined to improve after his rookie season, Kobe displayed his Mamba mentality for the first time. During the offseason, he practiced relentlessly. His hard work would pay off in his sophomore season, as Kobe's averages would jump to 20.5 points, 3.7 rebounds, and 5.1 assists. His team record also would improve to 41-41, but despite that, it was not enough this time to secure a playoff spot. And this would lead to Kobe dealing with critics for the first time in his young career, as they would push a narrative that he cannot lead a team. And with these narratives in mind, he would go into the next season wanting to prove something. Year 3, Kobe was determined to improve his game and lead his team to the playoffs, and he would do just that, unfortunately getting swept in the first round by the Brooklyn Nets. This season would also mark the first of many All-Star appearances in Kobe's long career, but it would also be the last notable event in the years to come for Kobe Bryant. As for the next 3 years, the team would be lackluster, missing the playoffs in 2 of the 3 years and losing in the first round in the other, but that would all soon change entering the 2002 season. The team would be moved to New Orleans, and Kobe would don an iconic haircut. A new fire was lit under Kobe and his team, going 39-11 heading into the All-Star break. It came as no surprise when Kobe was selected for his 5th All-Star game. The Hornets would end the year with the best record in the NBA, a staggering 64-18, and secured the #1 seed in the playoffs. This time, Kobe would make it past the first round. Sweeping the New York Knicks in the semifinals, Kobe would run right through the Toronto Raptors as well, sweeping them as well on his way to a showdown with Allen Iverson and the 76ers. A trip to the NBA Finals on the line, the 76ers would come out blazing, catching Kobe and the Hornets off guard as they were riding the high after 2 sweeps. The Hornets were initially shaken, however, Kobe refused to back down. In Game 3, he elevated his play to a level we never seen before, leading his team to win the next 2 games and tie up the series. Back in New Orleans for Game 5, Kobe delivered a stellar performance. Kobe would not be denied on his home floor, single-handedly pushing his team past the 76ers. And now all it would take is one more win and Kobe would be in the finals for the very first time. On the other side, the Spurs awaited him. But for now, Kobe would have to get through one more game. And that's exactly what he did, going off for 43 points in a monstrous game. He was getting any and everything to fall, and he closed out the series and sent the 76ers packing. Immediately after the series, Kobe would waste no time getting ready for the Spurs. Spending long hours taking jump shots in the practice facility, Kobe would relentlessly train, being the first one in the gym and the last one out, constantly making his team run plays and getting himself ready for Game 1. Kobe knew that to beat the star-studded Spurs, he would have to make a statement. So as soon as he got the tip off, he took it straight down the lane and got a posterizer. This would energize his team and they would ride that wave all the way to a Game 1 win. But the Spurs had way too much talent to go down that easy, bouncing back to take Game 2 in stellar fashion. In Game 3, Kobe would not be deterred, instead getting his team involved. With the help of point guard Baron Davis, Kobe was able to take Game 3 on a last-second buzzer beater. Being up 2-1, Kobe refused to put his foot on the brake, going for 36 points in Game 4. The Spurs were failing and they knew they needed to change something up, so they started sending more pressure towards Kobe. And unfortunately, this time his teammates were not there to help him out, as they would lose Game 5 104-96. Knowing that the championship depended on him, Kobe left everything on the court in Game 6. He knocked down shot after shot and gave everything he had to win, and it culminated in a historic performance that secured his first ever championship against one of the greatest teams in NBA history. During the ceremony, Kobe was awarded his first individual piece of hardware in the form of a Finals MVP. This achievement would mark the beginning of a new era for both Kobe and the New Orleans Hornets. The very next year, Kobe would find himself back in the conference finals, this time against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Through the first 2 games, Cleveland would have an answer for everything that the Hornets tried to do, winning the first 2 games of the series and putting New Orleans in a tough spot. But Kobe would remain unfazed as he would kick it into top gear just like we seen him do a season ago. The Hornets would win out the rest of the series, taking 4 straight games and sending Kobe back to the NBA Finals for the 2nd year in a row. With thoughts of a repeat on the Hornets players' minds, they would face the Dallas Mavericks. For the entirety of the playoffs, Kobe was locked in on nothing but basketball. And it showed here as his team would win the first 2 games of the series on the back of stellar play by the 6-time All-Star, doing what he does best, scoring at will. Back against the wall, the Mavs would respond in Game 3, desperate not to fall down 3-0. 5th-year man Dirk Nowitzki along with his co-star Steve Nash would elevate to Kobe's level, taking Game 3 and keeping their championship hopes alive. But the loss would only serve to make Kobe Bryant even more determined, shooting lights out in Game 4 on his way to a 49-point triple-double. Now up 3-1, it looked as good as over for the Mavericks, yet Kobe didn't seem happy. When asked about this by the media, Kobe would respond,
"Still to be happy about. The job's not finished."
And in that moment, the basketball world knew that Kobe Bryant was a different type of athlete. Game 5 would eventually roll around, and unsurprising, Kobe had another amazing performance, and it would secure his 2nd championship, completing the back-to-back. At the end of all this, his legacy would shine even brighter. Heading into the 2004 NBA season, fans and critics alike set high expectations for a three-peat, marking the start of the Hornets dynasty. However, these high expectations would be tested early. In the first round of the playoffs, the Hornets would find themselves as the 4th seed, and they would go down 2-1 to the Detroit Pistons. Game 4 would make the hole even worse as they would fall to the Detroit Pistons in the closing minute after clutch free throws by Richard Hamilton. But just when everything looked bleak for the Hornets, Kobe made a resurgence, catching fire early in Game 5 and inching closer to tying the series up. On the verge of elimination in Game 6, Kobe would do everything to get his team into position to win. Down 3 with 15 seconds left, Kobe would hold the ball for the final shot, and with 4 seconds left, he would make his move. The shot went up, but unfortunately it would not fall, ending the series and with it potentially ending the Hornets dynasty in its tracks. The next 2 years would be hard, losing key players and replacing them with younger, less experienced players. But in the 2007 season, Kobe and the Hornets would get back to form. Securing the number 2 seed in the playoffs will help for 3rd year and future NBA star Chris Paul. Together, Kobe and Paul would blaze past the Thunder on their way to a face-to-face with a team Kobe knows all too well, the San Antonio Spurs. And just like in the past, Kobe would have the Spurs number, sweeping them. But Kobe and Paul would soon face the 1-seeded Suns. It would be here that the charge would fall flat. The Suns would take the first 3 games, and with all the momentum gone, the Hornets could barely avoid a sweep, winning Game 4 but losing soon after, ending what looked to be a surefire championship run and a return to glory for Kobe Bryant. Determined to bounce back, Kobe and Chris Paul trained all offseason together, vowing that they would win a championship together for the city of New Orleans. With this vow in mind, the Hornets played like a brand new team, getting back to the #1 seed, and Kobe would capture his first ever MVP trophy, truly reaching the top of the basketball mountain. In the playoffs, they found a new gear, winning the first round 4-2 over the Kevin Durant or Westbrook-led Thunder, then narrowly taking the series against Carmelo Anthony and the Nuggets. In the conference finals, Kobe and the Hornets steamrolled the 7th-seeded Timberwolves, throwing them around all series on their way to the NBA Finals. On the other side, a young LeBron James would be looking to make a name for himself, just 5 seasons into arguably the greatest career in the history of basketball. And so the stage was set. Kobe, LeBron, winner takes all. And well, Kobe would be the only one winning, as they swept LeBron James and the Cavs. LeBron would have to wait for his shot at greatness, but nonetheless, he brought an unbelievably horrible team this far. So with that, Kobe would have his 3rd ring, only 2 away from his real-life career. That offseason, it seemed like everyone was a fan of the Hornets, dubbing them the greatest team of the 2000s. And soon, they would have a chance to add on to that legacy. Kobe to this point is an 11-time All-Star, has 3 rings and 1 MVP. All he needs is 2 more rings and 7 more All-Stars to tie his real-life career. However, a familiar challenger stood in his way. Kobe would once again find himself playing the Thunder in the playoffs, but this time they felt different. They had the MVP Kevin Durant, a blossoming Russell Westbrook, and a new rookie by the name of James Harden. OKC came to play, taking Game 1 thanks to Westbrook dropping 26 points along with 9 assists. Game 2, it would be the MVP Durant going off, dropping 39 on 12 for 20 shooting, and hitting big shots down the stretch to put OKC up 2-0. Kobe and Paul stopped the bleeding in Game 3, scoring 20 points each and complimenting each other nicely on the court. Game 4, Chris Paul would be virtually non-existent, scoring only 6 points. Thankfully, Kobe does what he does, lighting up the Thunder for 35 points and a game-sealing block. Chris Paul would make up for his absence in the next game, getting 8 of his 10 shots to fall and setting his team up 9 times to push past the Thunder and take their first series lead. There would be no quit in the Thunder, as Westbrook and Durant would combine for 62 points, narrowly beating the Hornets as Kevin Durant would hit a huge shot with 5 seconds left. It would all come down to a Game 7. A 32-year-old Kobe Bryant was showing his first signs of aging this series, rarely being the #1 guy for the Hornets. And when the lights were the brightest, he would attempt only 8 shots, hitting 6 as his team would fall by 1 point on a clutch basket again, this time by James Harden. The Thunder would advance to the finals as Kobe was left to wonder, what's next? In the finals, the Thunder would face the Cavs, and LeBron would succeed where he failed just a year ago, capturing his first title and an NBA Finals MVP to go along with it. With Kobe's career winding down, nobody would know how many more shots Kobe would have left at a title. And with that in mind, the team would have to give it all they got for one last time. They would find themselves in a Game 7 in the conference finals against the Denver Nuggets. And with a monster block by David West to send Carmelo's shot back, and a huge last-second buzzer beater by Kobe, the Hornets would find themselves on the biggest stage of them all, competing for what very well could be Kobe's last championship ever. A Derrick Rose-led Bulls team would oppose them. Kobe was running out of gas in the playoffs, Game 1 shooting 6 for 13, whereas on the other side, the 3rd-year Derrick Rose shot 10 for 16, and was giving Chris Paul a world of problems. Carlos Boozer would bully down low for the Bulls, grabbing 15 boards, as the Bulls protected home court and secured the win. New Orleans would split the first 2 games by picking up a Game 2 win, sending the series back to their home turf. Kobe would feel comfortable at home, scoring 34 points, draining ridiculous shots, along with a 115-97 win. Kobe would soon find out why the Bulls made it to the finals, as they would win the next 2 games. In the potential closeout game, Derrick Rose had a career night, recording a stat line of 47 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds, handing Kobe his first ever finals loss. After the loss, Kobe would never reach that peak again, spending the next years failing to compete, and eventually in 2016 decided it would be his final season. Kobe would end up being an 18-time All-Star, 3-time NBA champion, and 1-time NBA MVP, tying his real-life totals of MVPs and All-Stars, but falling 2 titles short. Kobe's career on the Hornets was historic, from only winning 36 games his first year to being the best player in the NBA, from the media doubting him to the media counting the rings on his fingers. All that Kobe had left to give was 2 simple words.
Mamba out.